Welcome back to Good Teams Win, Great Teams Cover. We're here with our NFL Week 8 review. We're inching closer to the halfway mark of the NFL season. I am, of course, joined by Byron and Joe for this week's review show. Gentlemen, how are we both doing?
Better than our Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Joe, how about you?
Yeah, doing good. It's a strange week this week. Obviously, a lot of blowouts. I think it's like a record for so many years. I don't know if Byron's got number one or anything about how many games were over something like 14-point winners. So it's been a weird old NFL where there wasn't very many tight games. It was like where good teams were good teams and bad teams are bad teams. So fun week if you like blowout.
Some teams are confused and right in the middle, I guess, as well. Don't know whether they're good, don't know whether they're bad. Blowout week. Week 8 of the 2025 NFL season will be known as blowout week, but there's still plenty of interesting things to talk about. And we are going to talk about, we have got Monday Night Football left as we're recording Monday evening. But as yet, there was only one possession game. And what a game it ended up being. The New York Jets get their first win of the season, and what a day to do it on. Jets 39, Bengals 38. Bengals bungle to let Jets Nick win. Aaron Glenn gets his W as the Jets hit 500 yards of offense. Justin bounces back from benching to deliver fields of Mangold. And let's just start there first before we delve into the game. Obviously, before the game started on Sunday, we got kind of the sad news through that Nick Mangold, former Jets offensive lineman, sadly passed away at the age of 41, I think. Obviously, no age to be passing away. Nick Mangold suffered from kind of like, I think it's like a chronic kidney condition that he's had for a long time, played his whole football career with it, and kind of knew he was going to need treatment down the line, but clearly his health kind of went down quite quickly. I think he was after out and seen plenty of the noise around trying to get him a kidney donor, and over the last couple of weeks I've seen him in plenty of like podcasts and videos, and seemingly, despite dealing obviously with his illness, in relatively good spirits and seemingly relatively okay. He knew he needed some kind of severe medical treatment and a transplant. All of a sudden passed away. Just real sad for the Jets. A true legend of the New York Jets, former Ohio State national champion as well. And I didn't see too much before the games on Sunday because I think it was just kind of broke in the hour or so before the games did. But watching some of the tributes to him last night, particularly Rex Ryan, who kind of broke down in tears on the pre-game shows yesterday. So I think he had 6 or 7 years coaching Mangold at the New York Jets, and every single one just highlights what a great man he was, what a great teammate, an outstanding player, which obviously we all knew about for up until his retirement from the NFL, but just all around great dude. And sad to see again another NFL player pass away so young in such tragic circumstances.
Absolutely, yeah. And great guy, and also just an exemplary player. Part of the NFL Top 100. He was a 7-time Pro Bowler, 2-time first-team All-Pro. The best Jets team we know of, certainly in our lifetime. I mean, not a great set of contests, but a team who got to the AFC Championship game. Yeah, a huge miss and a big surprise, like you say. I've seen him on media duties recently, so certainly a bolt out of the blue. Very sad news.
And, what a way kind of for the Jets to finally get their first win and do it for Mangold. And the way the game went, it looked like, I think for huge chunks that they were just kind of going to take another beating, but they showed, I think, some resolve and maybe some of the things that they've been missing in these kind of first 8 weeks of the season, or the first 7 weeks before this, in terms of just kind of really digging in and fighting and just getting to the next play and just not kind of capitulating. And they scored 23 fourth quarter points to turn this one round. And every time the Bengals looked like they were going to pull away, the Jets just kept scrapping and clawing. And in the end, pull off quite the win with a Breece Hall to Mason Taylor touchdown pass to win it. Yeah, what did you make of this one? Because I thought this was overlooked many times, sort of seeing this throughout the afternoon, and then it just wasn't. The Jets just would not die.
Yeah, I think your spiel at the beginning, like, what they didn't have the first 7 weeks. I think what they didn't have the first 7 weeks was playing against the Bengals defense, because we came to this year thinking they were going to be terrible, and they've certainly lived up to that. They're definitely the bottom 5, maybe, worst defenses in the league. To get with 23 points, they just had that big win on Thursday Night Football against the Steelers. They had the hope. They had can we get some of these wins for Joe Burrow to come back? And this was one of them you had to have. And your offense put up 38 points, and you've still managed to lose this kind of game. It's the games they were losing last year, which got Lou Anarumo fired, and you can see what he's doing now in Indianapolis. So obviously it's the players. I know they've had injuries. I think Hendrickson was in and out, and he didn't play near the end, so he wasn't fully fit. But to let this Jets team, who didn't have Garrett Wilson, their top wide receiver was Tyler Johnson. Isaiah Davis was a second wide receiver who's a backup running back, and Mason Taylor. So they've got all these, inexperienced wide receivers going off, and Brees Hall running for 133 yards, 2 touchdowns. Like you said, he threw a touchdown as well, which I think I'm right in saying he's never thrown a pass in college or professional football, and decided to do it then, when clearly I don't think he was schemed up for that. It just looked like the player got blown up, and he just thought, let's just give it a go, which would have been crazy if it got picked off. But it's just this Bengals team to give you hope, to give you, can they actually come around, get Joe Burrow back, be an exciting team. But this defense is this defense. I think even if Joe Burrow was here, I wouldn't be surprised if they were 3-5 or even 4-4, not doing much better, because you can't win with such a bad defense, where I know that they tried to fix it, but obviously they haven't done enough. And again, it's another day of disappointment in Cincinnati.
Yeah, just a bit bizarre one to lose if you're from a Bengals perspective. You kind of thought they'd be able to kind of get a bit of momentum after that Thursday night win last week, and just not. It leaves your margin. Your margin for error is so much smaller now. Realistically, maybe you can drop 2 more. It's a long path now. This was one of the ones you absolutely had to have. You know what? Real happy for Aaron Glenn. He's copped a lot of flack, and it's been a real bad run. And I think a lot of talk whether the team had quit on him. Well, I don't think you can say that you can say they have, in how they fought. Yes, it was against the Bengals defense, but again, they just kind of stuck at it. And there's probably 3 or 4 times you could have pointed about, well, maybe that's where they could have just gone after the Bengals went to 2 scores again and 2 scores again, and just kept scoring after the Jets got close. So yeah, well done the Jets, getting off that. Nobody wants to kind of be on that run. 0-17 is a looming possibility. And they didn't. And, Justin Fields, real rough week for Justin Fields. But, he had a relatively clean game from what we've seen from him, played a lot better than what we've seen, after all that talk, especially in London the other week when he took 9 sacks. Well, no sacks. Again, that might be a little bit on the Bengals defense, but he was getting the ball out quicker, which obviously is what the Jets were desperately needing. And, capped off with a huge Brees Hall performance. I've just got a little something to share, again, just kind of on the Nick Mangold topic of his passing. This is from Rich, I think it's Chimini, who is ESPN, covers the Jets for ESPN. So given kind of this detail of this Jets win, let us know, is it coming through on the screen big enough, guys?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the Jets won their first game on the day that franchise legend Nick Mangold died at age 41. Consider Mason Taylor caught the game-winning touchdown scorer. Caught the game-winning touchdown. Son of Jason Taylor of the Jets, Mangold's teammate in 2010. Nick Folk kicked the game-winning PAT. Mangold's teammate from 2010 through 2016. The win happened about 47 miles away from Centerville, Ohio, where Nick Mangold was born. So yeah, plenty of kind of like touching points there in terms of the win this week for the Jets, and they certainly got one over the line for obviously their offensive line legend who sadly passed them on into the game. And thoughts and prayers, of course, with Nick Mangold's family and his kids. I think he left, obviously passed away leaving 4 kids, so 4 young children. So obviously thoughts and prayers with those guys. Anything else to add, Jets Bengals, before we move on, guys?
I would say what's nuts as well, I give it to Aaron Glenn, the 2 touchdowns before going up were both 2-point conversions as well. Like some coaches don't do that, and we always, we don't give positive reactions for that. So the fact that I did it just to try and win it instead of just going 30 all, and I could imagine the Bengals going down and being the Jets performance. But again, Bengals like two-point conversions in a row, just not good enough.
Absolutely. Excellent. Next up, then, we'll go into our games with key takeaways and spotlight on Byron. You've got the Bears.
I sure have. No Lamar, but Baltimore get back in the hunt. Practice? We don't need to talk about practice. Chicago fall back to earth as Baltimore season starts now. Favored for the division, despite being 2 games behind Pittsburgh, Baltimore come back with a 30-16 win over the Bears, with Tyler Huntley, Pro Bowl quarterback, leading the way. Had a very clean game. And after a 4-game winning streak, I thought Chicago looks like, I think we kind of expected Chicago to look through the season. The Ravens defense looked a lot better than it had before the bye. Not perfect by any means. I think the Bears could have still scored some more points if they'd executed better. Rome Odunze obviously got his over 100 yards receiving. But ultimately, I think Caleb Williams looked poor, to say the least, this week. Wasn't completing the simple throws, wasn't executing in the red zone. And credit to Baltimore down there, star franchise quarterback, Tyler Huntley leaning on Derrick Henry to come away with the win.
Yeah, the Ravens are going on the fucking about with the injury report shit list after the shenanigans coming up. Lamar's full participant in practice. Oh, actually, he didn't fully participate. He was limited, and he ran the crock of shit that they ran, which is real frustrating. I'm so annoyed as well because from our preview, my take on the game was right, and I didn't hold my nerve because obviously that line jumped so much. I cashed out for a loss, then bet the under, which was 45, and ended up 46 with the Ravens scoring a touchdown late on that they didn't really fucking need. So they really just stuck it to me this week, the Ravens. But I kind of felt that the Ravens kind of would be better defensively coming back with the players they had back. They were, I was expecting Lamar to be back, so I was expecting them to be obviously much better offensively, and they were without Lamar as well. Yeah. And just that run, I just kind of, why the Bears don't win 5 games in a row? They just don't. Not kind of.
Yeah. It feels like the Bears is the Lucy and Charlie Brown to the fans, holding the ball, going to kick it, and Snoopy there for the Baltimore Ravens, helping them out to get the win.
Yeah, and we thought, the last 2 weeks certainly, not just because of thought, the Bears' rushing attack has been great. Monongai and DeAndre Swift. This week it was 11:45 for Swift. Not terrible, but certainly not, anything to write home about. Monongai only 7 carries for 24 yards. It just didn't get going at all. Into all total 23 for 96. It just got away from Chicago. They just seem like a team who needs a break, and they've just come off a bye, so they're not getting another one anytime soon. But for all the good things that Ben Johnson and Caleb, I dare say Ben Johnson's got out of Caleb Williams to start the season. Yeah, I thought this was a real bounce back to earth for Chicago, but especially for Caleb Williams. I thought this was his worst game of the season.
Yeah, bad time to have it again. You've got the opportunity there. I think if you get to 5-2, put yourself in a real strong position.
Yeah.
Especially kind of the way things are going in the NFC North. Obviously the Lions are still rolling, the Packers picking up wins. It's just you need to keep in touch. And I feel like this is one if you had that opportunity to go against the Ravens without Lamar, just in general, never mind with how piss poor they've been, you've really not taken advantage of it at all. But I think maybe again that's the case. This Bears, second rebuild isn't going to go straight up, isn't going to be a rocket ship, I don't think. There's still a lot that Ben Johnson needs to build. And it was real disappointing. But I think you might see this of just like these ups and downs from the Chicago Bears the rest of the way. I think that's just kind of who they are.
I think
I feel like the Bears.
Go ahead, Joe.
I was going to say the Bears on offense have never been. I don't think this should be like wow, mind blowing. It's been like they've been good.
Yeah.
And good for Bears, and Caleb Williams is hell of a lot better than last year. But there's a lot, like you said, inconsistent, especially with the passing game. Just not quite there. Some of the player calls and I think there's going to be where you look at that draft and you're thinking, look at Drake May, look at Jaden Daniels, you're like, ugh. Caleb's not quite there yet. I'm going to give him another year or so with Ben Johnson, but it's just that inconsistency where you're just like, this is the kind of game. It's just good quarterbacks win. and he just didn't step up. Especially that interception was massive as well, when it was like 16-12 or something. I can't remember what the score was, where by Wiggins on the goal line. That was massive.
And it was your mention of the word second that reminded me, Paul. We do have to be fair, take into account the Bears lost 3 of the secondary in the week of the game. At least one's on IR. So that is tough to overcome when you are a middling team. I know it is the Bears being the Bears, but I think, without Lamar, I would still expect him to perform better against the Ravens. But I do think that is tough to overcome for a team that, I think at best is a 9-8 team, probably. So that is tough to overcome. And just your mention of Drake May there as well, Joe. I just wanted to highlight a stat from one of my favorites, Denny Carter over on Blue Sky. The most inaccurate quarterback through week 8 per completion percentage over expected. The least accurate quarterback in the league is Caleb Williams at minus 7.1%. The most accurate quarterback in the same metric is Drake May, 10.8% over expected. So, yeah, I think all 3 teams will be relatively happy with their quarterback, but I think New England and Washington would not swap by any means for Caleb Williams. But I think, I don't think there should be talk of Caleb Williams losing his job just yet, but he does need to improve. That is a horrible start.
Yeah, I don't think losing the job. It's just when you compare, like you're doing in the draft, and him going first, there's always going to be that comparison. So.
Yeah. Excellent. Cool. All right, then. Let's move on to my spotlight and takeaway game. And you know what? We stuck the boot in when they've been pretty poor a few weeks ago. Let's, call it out when they've turned it around. And I think they might have found the formula now. Eagles 38, Giants 20. Barkley breaks out of funk as Philly keeps rolling. This is so small on my screen. Eagles finally get run game going and stack back-to-back performances on offense. Is Jalen Hurts quietly building an MVP case? Just start there. I just wanted to throw that out there. What do you think of that?
Don't hate it, but I think he's going to struggle for the narrative. And they are 6-2, but I think what really Jackson Dart, I think, is another one who does not shine in the accuracy metrics. I think he's a very vibes-based quarterback. I think I've already called it that he's going to be the sophomore slump next year of all sophomore slumps. Letting Vic Fangio see him twice in 2 weeks, I think it's kind of a hiding to nothing for a young quarterback who I'm not sure he's able to figure out the answers on his own just yet. I mean, it's his 4th or 5th career start, so I'm not holding that against him. I want to see the Eagles put it on some proper opponents before I start talking about him for MVP. I don't know what the odds are, though. I think that could be a nice bet, though, because, Jalen Hurts doesn't get enough respect, ultimately. And he hasn't been great this season. I've criticized him this season, but
we all have. We've all taken shots at Jalen Hurts this season.
But when it comes to it, in the big moments, he is nails. In the Super Bowl they lost, that was not on Jalen Hurts. Super Bowl they won, I'm not going to say it was all on Jalen Hurts, but Jalen Hurts played his life out. He was incredible. So yeah, I'd quite like to see him get a media campaign behind him because he always feels like he's under the spotlight.
He is 22-1 to win MVP
That's
currently.
not bad, yeah. I would back that, to be fair.
9 players ahead of him, and one of them's a running back. Jonathan Taylor, who's coming massively from 50-1 last week when we talked about it. Yeah, I really wish I'd just put it on at 50-1 and then just again we sat profit massively already. Anyway, but just Jalen Hurts' case, 6-2 as you mentioned, the Eagles, over 70% completion percentage, 15 touchdowns to 1 interception, 114.4 quarterback rating. That's pretty good going through 8 games.
Yeah, not bad.
We'll see what's going. But just in terms of just the detail, I just think the Eagles now they've gone back to back and shown us. Yes, you're right. Probably need to do it against some stronger opposition. They've just been struggling so much. Hurts had a four touchdown day. Yeah, he didn't light up with 300 plus passing yards. He didn't need to. Saquon got going on the ground finally. His first 100-yard rushing game of the season, and it probably would have been over 200 if he didn't sit having a bit of a feeling his groin a little bit. He ran for 150 yards off 14 carries and a touchdown. Got another one through the air as well. Devonta Smith in obviously AJ Brown's absence. Devonta Smith backed up a career day last week with another strong day this week. Dallas Goedert 2 receiving touchdowns. It was just a very, very strong day from the Eagles offensively. And yeah, 6-2, having played some pretty bad football earlier in the season, I think they're pretty set. And you know what? My bad. Had I known they were wearing the Kelly Greens, I'd have told them to cover the 7.
Well, and they also had, one of the best players was the player in black and white who decided to blow the whistle on the tush push at 7-0 after he got fumbled, which I think that's going to be another case of like why might get banned. Is that the whole thing where it's not even nice ugly to watch? It's that referees don't know how to call it, because if that was like near the goal line and they were pushing, they would have let that play continue until Hurts got over the line. But because he stretched out and then that forward.
He hasn't stopped. Yeah, Dallas Goedert was still shoving him, and he still had forward momentum. He hadn't had that forward progress being stopped. Dallas Goedert was still pushing him, and Jalen Hurts was still moving forward. And yeah, he was stripped, and the Giants should have been able to probably return that for 7.
Because I think they got a touchdown, so it's like a 14-point swing.
Yeah, it's a big swing.
And also that Darius Slayton, that was a shocking offensive pass interference as well. Don't know if you saw that.
Yeah.
There was hand fighting. It felt like Wiggins pulled him back. He did something back, and I think obviously the Eagles deserve to win just with the number of yards ago. And obviously elephant in the room with Cam Scatterbo out for the season with the.
It was awful, horrible. Yeah, ankle fake. His foot facing the wrong way. Terrible. And yeah, Cam Scatterbo has been a breath of fresh air. Kind of, I think we talked about it. I think the majority of us were just real excited to see him in the NFL. When you watch him in college, just plays with a different level of physicality. Could he do it in the NFL? Well, yeah, he did. We saw it over the last number of weeks. And shame for the Giants. The Giants can't have nice things, can they? Obviously, Malik Neighbors went down. Didn't really get to see him with Jackson Dart. And then Cam Scatterbo has gone down a couple of weeks later. Just wanted to share this that I saw earlier as well. From the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles get a pretty bad rap. Not a bad rap. They have a reputation for just, in general, being scumbags, right? The city of Philadelphia, not as a whole. But Eagles fans and Philly sports fans, they're passionate fans. Well, I just want to shout out Big Dom. I know we've given Big Dom a bit of stick over the sort of the last couple of years since he's become kind of a factor. But this is from Jeff McClain. He covers the Eagles at Inquirer.com. So yeah, go follow at Jeff_McClain. Cam Scatterbo had a surprise visitor at Penn Presbyterian Hospital on Monday. Eagles do it all. Chief of Security Dom DeSandro, what he of course is called Dom DeSandro, who dropped off pizza and cheesesteak for the Giants rookies while he was still at the Philly hospital after dislocating his ankle on Sunday. You know what? That's a touch of class.
Can't have a classy touch, yeah.
Yeah.
I know we were doing our weekly segment of Cam Scatterbo runs and obviously we're not going to do that this week, but there was a funny tweet about Cam Scatterbo. And it's in good taste. Scatterbo, doctor, please, I'm begging you, replace my foot with a bitchin' four-wheeler. Surgeon, Mr. Scatterbo, everything will be fine. You're in good hands. You and your foot will be okay. This is a good sign the drugs are kicking in. Just relax. Anesthetist. I haven't started yet. That's who Cam Scatterbo is. Cannot wait to see him back firing next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully, hope everything clears up well and we see it in September. Cam Scatterbo. Eagles 6-2, Giants 2-6. Joe, your spotlight and takeaway game?
Yeah, I've got Cook serves up a Panther for Bills 40 burger. Josh Allen breaking Cam's record in Carolina, and Cook gets the chef kiss. Are the Bills back, or were the Panthers ponies? So yeah, I just put this game. Like you said, there was a lot of blowouts, but I think this was important for the Bills. Obviously, coming off the bye, they had a lot of work to do, and we said at the start of the season we weren't quite sure how James Cook was going to look. Obviously, last year he got all them touchdowns, but he was fantastic in this game. Over 200 yards, I think it was 216 on the ground and 19 carries with a long of 64. And yeah, they just seem to get everything right in terms of just controlling this game. I was expecting a bit more from the Carolina Panthers. I know they were playing with the Red Rifle. Andy Dalton But it was just disappointing on all levels. I don't think that the defense stood up to this Bills team because, Josh Allen didn't have a huge game. He only threw for 163 yards and 12 completions. And one of them was a big touchdown to Shakir for 54. So it wasn't like they haven't fixed all the issues. They got a few players back as well from suspension and injury. So I think this Bills team is turned a corner. They needed this win in a big way, just how the Patriots are playing. So going 5-2, coming off the bye, looking good. And when you got Mitch Trubisky playing the last few minutes, it's a job well done. But I just wanted it was more giving a shout out to James Cook. We've been singing the praise of James Taylor this year, but I think James Cook is one of them underrated running backs where, he's got 7 touchdowns and 753 yards. He's second in yards this year. I don't think he ever gets the praises of some like the Bijans, the McCaffreys, the Jonathan Taylors this year, but he's just a solid, great running back for them, and they certainly need him just because of the wide receivers are not quite separated as much as we would like. So yes, it was a good bill. So yeah, throw it out to. I'll give it to you, Paul. What do you think? The Bills are back?
No, I wouldn't say Bills back, but a huge step in the right direction. And James Cook's so important to this Buffalo Bills team. Look back since middle of 2023. If he doesn't rush for 100 yards, there's a significant chance the Bills are losing that football game. I think that when he doesn't rush for 100 yards, they're 1-5, something like that, 1-6. He's so important to keep going, and they're so quick to go away from him when things get a bit difficult instead of keeping on feeding him. So the Bills really need to learn that lesson, I think, heading into kind of the back end of the season and the playoffs. Cooks needs to be, I think, probably as there with Josh Allen as the focal point of the offense, because you need to retain the balance. You can't just go away from him, because when the Bills do that, they lose. But yeah, I think maybe it was just a big sort of get right game, confidence builder for the Bills, and we'll see if they can, maintain it moving on.
I said. Go ahead. I was going to say the only negative is Ed Oliver's looks like he's torn his bicep and is out indefinitely. Obviously, that's a huge. They got Larry Ogunjobi back from suspension, and I think Michael Hurst at the first round played one of his first games. So, it's that you don't want injuries at this stage, but Ed Oliver is probably their number one defensive player. So they haven't ruled him out yet, but usually a torn bicep at this late stage with surgery, it'll be playoffs at best, even if he can get back. And is he going to be up to full snuff to contribute?
Let's see where the Bills are on. Bills have got Chiefs this week. Let's see where they are.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Any more for Bills Panthers? No, right. Let's roll into our overreactions. Love the overreactions. Byron, you're up first for your overreaction this week.
Yeah, sorry, Joe. 49ers hit the wall. Soft schedule, but is their bye too late? 2-3 since their 3-0 start. Is injury book too much for San Fran to make up and get in the playoffs? Stroud sackless for the first time this season. Yeah, this was brutal. Did we all back the 49ers? It was a trap. We all knew it was a trap. We all knew it was coming. I placed it as a single bet because I just couldn't believe you were getting this price. And credit to the Texans offensive line and CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud I was very harsh on last week. I think fairly, but very harsh. I think he played appalling. He came out and played really well, really good football with no Nico Collins, no Christian Kirk. Xavier Hutchinson had a career game. Jalen Noel had his best game of his career as well. And the Niners, they just look like a team who needs a bye. Their bye isn't until week 14. I guess this is somewhat more of a question for Joe, but like how much is your panic index at this point, I guess, with Seattle and LA Rams, doing so well in the season? Do you think the Niners still make the playoffs?
5-3. I think when you look at some of the games where they have won, they shouldn't have won a few of them games. Like I wasn't expecting to be the Rams. The Falcons, obviously, it's different now, but when that game was rolling around, I wasn't expecting them to win that. So I don't mind. I think with all the injuries they have had, to be 5-3, I think that's outstanding. And again, the schedule is not crazy. I think they've got the Giants this week. It doesn't help you the buys in week 14, which is it's fairly. Yeah, it's not where you would want it for an injured team, but Purdy should be back next week. It's just on defense. Bryce Huff was out. I think D Winters was in and out. Upton Stout was in and out. So I think with Huff, who last week we'll talk about, he may be one of the best pickups this year. That I think it's something crazy. Well, the Texans got more. They had more time than they did when they played the Baltimore Ravens, where I felt like CJ Stroud had enough time. So I think eventually, when you've got all these players, you got players playing with the fist casted up because of broken hands and all sorts. There's going to be some games where the momentum, the kind of the hoo-ha that Bob Saleh brings isn't enough, where you need quality players. So I think they just need to get through this. I think that obviously now they're the third favorite to win the division. They've already beat the Rams and Seahawks, so they've already got one win over them. So you never know if they can keep it. Like I said, with Purdy coming back, and I think there's the one there, new center. I think Trent Williams was in and out as well, and that limits what George Kittle can do because they have to block up again. And you're not going to play the Texans defense every week. I think that's a big thing as well. this Texans defense is, was giving Seahawks fits. They are again, they're in the top 3 defenses in the league. So you're not going to face that kind of defense all the time. So you're able to get away. You can be a bit more clever. And Juwan Jennings been playing with injured. We talk about when PSL gets back. And they just need these players to come back, and you just hope there might be one of the teams on the trade deadline is an edge rusher free. You're not going to get a high quality, but they got Chase Young a few years back, and they get someone like Thibodeau might be out there. That's what if the Bengals lost to the Steelers, Hendrickson could have been out there. Like one of them kind of players could have gave for a second and third round pick just to help this team, just to have that, star, higher than average kind of defensive player. So I think they just need to just survive. I think, like I said, with some of the wins they got, which I weren't expecting, it's it's not the worst loss in the world. It makes the AFC South now the Texans have won. Makes it a little bit more interesting, and we should have all known that it was.
It's a trap.
Didn't expect that.
Just quick shout on this one. I spent this with the 49 Faithful UK guys up in Leeds. Hickory, so shout out to those guys. Thanks for making us so welcome. Great to see Paul again, Paul Hope. Great to see the president of 49 Faithful UK, Lee Garland as well. And just great. It was great. And there must be 80 to 100 people there. They got a lot of numbers in, and it's just a shame it wasn't a better game for them. They seem to have a bit of bad luck with those watch parties that kind of ended defeat a lot.
They have bad luck. This is your third one of the season, right, Paul?
Yeah, I think it might just be me.
Yeah, what's your record this year?
For the hosts, 0-3. So the Jets lost against the Bucks. The Ravens lost against the Rams, to be fair, and with Cooper Rush playing, and then
I think you can.
Might just be the scheduling. We're off to another one in a couple of weeks. A Bucks one, and they've got the Bills, so it could be 0-4.
Yeah, let's get our money on the Bills early, lads.
Yeah, so
I was about to say, I'll pause the invite mind if someone just get lost.
I know, you're not coming in. But just this one, I've got the Texans. Just a word on the Texans. I know the point is about the Niners. I think the Texans were really, really impressive in terms of they were so woeful on Monday Night Football against the Seahawks. Took a real step forward on a slightly short week. They just killed the Niners in terms of just long drive after long drive after long drive. I think time of possession ended up 41 or 42 to 18, 42 minutes to 18 or 41. They killed them early on and didn't necessarily stack the points that would go with that domination. And when I was watching it, and all of a sudden when the Niners came alive before halftime, I thought, oh my God, the Texans have blown this here. The Niners are going to come roaring back. And to be fair to the Texans, they just kind of kept going with a long drive, didn't they, really, and doing so. Quick one, Joe. I wonder what your thoughts were. You know the interception right on halftime? Is it Lenore that gets the interception?
Yeah.
Why does he not go down to give them a chance to kick a field goal?
To be honest, I have no idea. I actually missed that interception, so I'm not quite not seen the play, but I did see where you mentioned
because he gets within range. He gets to basically like the 45 to 40 yard line with a couple of seconds left on the clock, and he just keeps going like with no shot of actually returning it. like obviously I think it's 11 seconds on the clock when the play starts, so you don't have a lot of time. And it's a deep pass, but just like because all of a sudden that could be 16-10 going into halftime, and you knock the 2 scores down. It's one possession, maybe it just changes the game slightly, but yeah, I was just like watching go down, go down.
I sometimes think like with defensive players, I don't expect too much of them on like the offensive players. Like their whole mindset is to like, stop it. And then sometimes when they get the ball, they're just like, we had the whole Dre Greenlaw in the playoffs a few years ago where he just was running around.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes you just see glory. As soon as they catch it, they're thinking, I'm going to get to that end zone. And they don't really think about the clock and the smart play in that sense.
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, I was just like, oh. But yeah, I just thought the Niners struggled because kind of the way the game was going, like you've got to get McCaffrey the ball more. He's got to have more than 11 touches. When you're struggling as you are, you need, and it was hard because they just really couldn't run the ball at all. But you just need to find a way to get McCaffrey the ball more than 11 times, I think. But Kittle with a touchdown on National Tight Ends Day, and there was a couple obviously moments where they kind of, maybe they're getting back in the game that made it fun for the guys, but it was a rough one for them. But again, thanks again to the 49er Faithful for having us along. Go give them a follow. Check out their show. They're great. I think they're having another one in a few weeks. Maybe I should stay away.
Probably for the best.
Yes, please.
Yeah. All right, Joe. I'll do it for you. I'd love to be there, but I'll do it for you, Joe. Cool. Next up then, Overreaction. I think we're over to you, Joe.
Yeah, the Craft. TE tight end puts Steelers under his spell. Roger's sitting on the dock of Green Bay watching his record sail away. Packers looking more complete while worrying times in Pittsburgh, especially their defense. Yeah, this was Sunday Night Football, second week in a row I brought this Sunday Night Football. I just think this was a big game for both teams. The Packers have been like a weird team where they've not been they're like the first in the NFC, but like we all talk about how the Lions have played, how the Bucks have played. I mentioned the Fiddlers, but like the Packers have been putting these wins in, not being super impressive. But I feel like this performance certainly did. Obviously, the first half was slow. The Steelers got on top, but you talked about Jalen Hurts, the sneaky MVP. Jordan Love could be one of them as well because he certainly gets the stats and the numbers. I think that's what helps his case. He threw 360 yards and 3 touchdowns, passer rate 134, and I think he was just a good performance. All right, I think Parsons is starting to heat up, looking better and better each week. And they've got other players on that defense as well who's certainly contributing. Edwin Cooper, and just lost
Rashawn Gary.
Yeah, and Rashawn Gary, they're contributing and they're just making this team looking more complete. And when you've got a tight end like Tucker Kraft, which I mentioned in the title, just having a monster game, catching 7 catches for 143 yards, it just makes his team. We talked about how they had a lot of number 2 wide receivers, and Golden hasn't quite lived up. I don't think it was. He did play. He had 3 catches for 4 yards. He hasn't quite lived up to that. Number 1 wide receivers, and there might still be a team of wide receiver 2s. Tucker Kraft is a true tight end 1, and it's like a weird year this year where usually the top tight ends are these 3. He's like Kittle, Kelsey, and there's always like someone else. Obviously, Bowers came in last year, but this year it feels like it's so spread. You said who is the best tight end this year, and Tucker Kraft could certainly be up there. And I think that huge play, I think it was just after halftime.
Yeah.
That huge catch, what was it, 59 yards, where on 3rd and 5,
that could have been an interception and possibly a pick 6 all day long. Yeah. It really could have been because Jordan Love just airballed it. It really was a bad throw.
And that's what I keep thinking it's a bad throw, but that is just who Jordan Love is. There's even the Christian Watson one where he got that huge play as well, where it was like
that should have been an interception as well.
What is he doing? But it feels like he gets away with it more than he does, and he gives them a chance. He gives his wide receivers a chance, and Tucker Kraft just rumbling down the field, and that was huge just to get them up 16-14. And then once that happened, it felt like there was no stopping them. They got the touchdowns in the next 2 possessions, and then 2 field goals as well. And the Steelers couldn't keep up, and it's weird. The Steelers team's weird. I think coming into this year, we're all worried about that offense. Could Rodgers actually, do a lot better than he did in New York? Could he be, the player of his old? He's not quite the player of his old, but he's doing what he needs to do. I think he's actually impressed. Well, still impressed me this year compared to what I thought it was going to be. And it's actually the defense, which has got all the money into it, is letting this team down where, coming into this year, we all just thought, Steelers are going to have a great defense again. And it's normally the defense which gets them to 9-8 wins because they have all these low-scoring games. This year, it feels like the offense is winning games to them instead of the defense. They're losing them games. If you had that defense of 2 or 3 years ago, this team could have a lot better prospects. But going to fall 3, that FC North is certainly up for grabs. I still see them getting to like 9 and 8 and 9 just with who they are, and I know they're currently on a blip right now, but it's just that kind of team, and it's Metcalf doing Metcalf stuff where he gets that personal, he gets the penalty for poking a Green Bay players in the face, and he's just like that daft. And you look at George Pickens out in Cowboys, and you just think, oh, what if they had both of them? They could have even been even more special, but. I just want to give a shout out to Packers who are 5-1-1. Who they sneakily got to like the NFC, the number 1 seed, and I think they're getting stronger and stronger, and I think that's a worry for the rest of the teams. And just super excited now for the Packers Lions run coming on, because I think the other 2 teams are falling off in the NFC North, and it feels like they're the 2 heavyweights going into it.
I don't know if I'm maybe on my own on this one take on this game, but I kind of feel the Steelers missed the chances to bury the Packers in the second quarter. I really feel they could have all out of sight. Might be harsh because again the Packers do have the ability to kind of score points relatively quickly, but just that run of going, they didn't take advantage of the field position and the missed field goal that the Packers had at the start of the second quarter. I think the Steelers got the ball at 47, and just didn't go punch it in for 6. Another field goal where another drive stalled, and then they did get the touchdown, but they were only 16-7 up. And I think really you should have been looking to go, well, you've probably left 10, 11, maybe you could have been near 30 and 20 odd points up going into halftime. And then that is a very, very different game. And I really did think the Packers struggled for a big chunk of it. And it was that spark. Like if the Steelers can just stop that Tucker Kraft play, I don't know if the Packers would have got going really, and obviously, but once they did not stop. But yeah, I think there's a big missed opportunity, and the scoreline looks like it was close. It wasn't, because the Steelers got a sort of garbage time touchdown, and 10 points. So this was a 17+ point game, but I just thought the Steelers had the chances to kill off the Packers, and they just never did. And that's probably the issue where they are offensively. They might just be steady. And obviously Boswell kept them ticking over in terms of points on the scoreboard, but they're not ruthless enough on offense. Even though they're getting kind of that stable play that they were after from Aaron Rodgers, the defense has just fallen off a cliff. It's more the defense from the back end of last season than earlier in the season, and it's killing them. But yeah, I thought a real missed opportunity for Pittsburgh.
And this defense in 2025 is costing $163 million. The number 2 defense in the league is $135 million. It is a bloated, overpaid. And I said it at the time, that TJ Watt contract is going to look horrible. And it already does. You can't pay players for past performance, and they have absolutely tripped over their feet to do so. Two last things on Tucker Kraft, if I may. When he scored his touchdown in the second quarter, his second touchdown in the fourth quarter, his second touchdown of the game, he just goes into the camera and just says, "I do that," which feels very Tucker Kraft to me. And also, great tweet from Mina Kimes, absolute GOAT. Tucker Kraft plays like a snowmobile, which I absolutely love, because it really sums up how he plays. I love watching him. Obviously, one of my favorites in fantasy that I shouted out before the season.
Yeah,
just
great take.
Pleased to see him keep so fit, because he is the top 3 tight ends in football this year, without any question to me.
Yeah, it's a shout. We'll do the roundup of the bets later on, but shout out on this one. Joe, you hit 14-1. Tucker Kraft 2+ touchdowns in this game. We'll do the roundup later, but yeah, biggest winner of the week. It was one of the biggest odds winner we had this week. So shout out, Joe. Great bet. On National Tight Ends Day, of course, as well. So well done, Joe, and well done, Tucker Kraft. Next overreaction. And again, we should know better. It's the Atlanta Falcons. But Dolphins 34, Falcons 10. Bijan bottled up as Falcons flattered to deceive again. Late week injuries hamper Atlanta, who still... What? would be expecting to find a way past the pitiful Dolphins. Tua left eye, Tagovailoa deals 4 touchdowns in bounce back. That's me with horrible spelling mistakes. Jesus Christ. Was I limited in practice this week? So my maybe initial take on this overreaction was a little bit might have been a little bit harsh because of the injuries the Falcons ended up having. But they were 6.5, 7-point favorites going into this one up until a bit later in the week where kind of Drake London was injured. Zach Harris, so Drake London was kind of out of the game Saturday late. Zach Harrison, one of the leaders in sacks on the team, was out, and then Penix was ruled out. But I was still pretty confident, even with Kirk Cousins, who will no doubt be the single most prepared backup quarterback in the NFL, would be able to have their way with this just dismal Dolphins team, what we've seen. And the Falcons were miserable, pitiful. Talked about Bijan there. You know, we all chucked Bijan in. Our majority of us did in our daily fantasy teams. You know, Dolphins' worst rushing defense in the NFL, and Bijan rushed for 25 yards.
Wasn't on my team.
Well, all right, fair enough. But it's on a lot of teams. A lot of big Falcon stacks this week. We all went for Kirk, didn't we, for DFS games?
Yeah,
sure.
I noticed that. Because I shouted out Michael Penix at our game day tips. And I said, if he doesn't go, Kirk Cousins is a great replacement. And I noticed he was on all 3 of our teams. You guys didn't have the bottle to stick with your quarterbacks. I can't really claim it a great call, but I mean, I'm flattered. Don't take offense to it, you know.
It wasn't you, Byron.
I'm surprised you didn't swap out Bijan for Jonathan Taylor as well. I mean, you should have done. But,
yeah. Well, when we'll get to fantasy game, but when Kirk Cousins was there at 4,200, I was like, well, I'll take that, and then chuck CD Lamb in my team because I'll get the extra pre, and that didn't really work out. So there we go. That was my reasoning. Anyway, but just the Falcons just miserable. Like, are we going to get this down? You know, we're just going to get this dance with the Falcons. Are going to be good one week, horrendous the next. This is just how it's going to be, isn't it, for the Atlanta Falcons? My initial thoughts and feelings around this were fire everyone. You cannot get beat by 3 scores by the Miami Dolphins at home, by this Miami Dolphins team. Cut them a little bit of slack because obviously the late injuries, but this was pitiful.
Don't give them any slack.
All right, I won't fire them all.
Yeah,
fire Raheem Morris, fire the offensive coordinator, fire the defensive coordinator. Even though all of them had a good defensive year so far, they just all fell apart. And again, this is one where you look at that division, the Bucs are still finding ways to win games with almost everybody hurt, and you can't deal with a few injuries late in the week.
Against the Dolphins.
How
many Dolphins injuries is there? They've just had Storm Ducky ruled out for the season. If you're at the point where it's a bad thing Storm Ducky's out for the season, you weren't batting with a full card. So no, I have no sympathy for the Miami Atlanta Falcons. This is appalling. And fire them all. I don't care.
Fire them all. I feel like just the Bucs aren't going to get pushed in this NFC South at all. And just the Falcons, pitiful, miserable. Shout out to the Dolphins, again, similar to kind of the Jets. You know,
good for them.
On it, and we've been calling about how just terrible Mike McDaniel's been, stuff like that. Tua as well. Given how things have gone, if Tua wouldn't have played on Sunday, I don't think he could have said anything. He woke up and his eye was one of his eyes was closed on Sunday morning. Played with a visor. Played his best game in a long time. He had 4 touchdown passes. Recreated. I don't know if you've seen them side by side, but the touchdown pass to Jalen Waddle was like it recreated their touchdown in the national championship game for Alabama. Side by side, it's almost identical.
Take your word for it.
It was, when you play them, they're almost identical plays, which is really cool. But Waddle had a big game, and
Are we saying that too as the new Jameis Winston? Then he sounds like that laser correction that basically he's more accurate with one eye rather than both eyes. Maybe that's the new thing now. Where the new Raiders quarterback plays with an eye patch. Here we go.
Or just get him in there squinting, just squint to her. And you know what I will say, like, he gets a lot of shit to her, and I'm one of the people who gives him it.
Yeah,
he's tough. He is not someone who wants to see out games. He is someone, for better or worse, will take the hits. And I think there's a lot to be commended in that. It's not always the brightest decision, but again, we'll go back to Anthony Richardson needing a breather after a fucking play. Tua Tagovailoa will play, and he plays through everything. So I don't think that gets said enough because he plays some bad football at times, and he seems, truthfully, a bit obnoxious off the field at times. But I think absolute fair play to him because he could have sat out this game, and I don't think anyone would have really questioned it with how the season's gone in Miami.
Yeah, you could see like there were shots of him during the game. Like his eye was an absolute mess. Like
Yeah.
shout out to her. You know, you get flowers when you deserve it. Battled through, and yeah, put in a great performance. Led your team to a comfortable victory.
Yeah, I would say Falcons the biggest disappointment like in season team where like week on week out I keep thinking, oh, they beat the Bills. They're gonna like start challenging. They're gonna be one of like the best NFC teams, and then it's just like have two stinkers, and then they have big wins, and then go as if against the Panthers. There's just like up and down.
My kind of take on it is, if we all back the Falcons again and they lose, we need to get for the fucking "you fell for it again" award. Like we know what they are now. If I see you two have backed them, I'm just taking the team. Yeah, I don't care if it's the Cleveland Browns minus 30. I'm not doing it. We're not doing a free on the Falcons because they exist to blow our minds, and I can't deal with it anymore.
They'll do it again next week because they'll go and beat the Patriots in New England next week.
They probably will.
They will, yeah. They will absolutely do it. This is what they do. So yeah, but they're abysmal. You can't live like this if you're trying to progress. You can't get shut out by the Panthers and lose 30-0. You can't lose by 24 at home to the Miami Dolphins. You just can't do it. Raheem Morris, I don't think you might last the season. I think you're done. It's miserable. But yeah, they'll probably beat the Patriots next week and we'll go, oh my god, aren't the Falcons great again?
And I think an important lesson, something I've always said at family reunions is don't get Cousins to do something a Penix has to do himself.
We'll use that clip as a clip. All right, let's go to the 4-4 challenge. Speaking of England, we'll start there. Byron, you have the Patriots as your favorite of the week, and yeah, comfortable. What score did it finish? It was 32-13. That
Browns have to score Agami, but it feels like an unusual scoreline.
Yeah, and 32-13. That Browns defense just does not travel.
No,
you got 5 sacks again. He must be like the best player, the worst team ever.
Yeah, I mean, he was happy to take the money, and he was so confident they had a quarterback plan that he knew about. He was all smug about it. It turned out the plan was a bucket load of money, which, I mean, it's fair enough, but don't make out that there's some master plan behind it because there clearly never was. Dylan Gabriel is not an NFL quarterback. We will probably see at some point whether Shedeur Sanders is. I lean that he probably also is not an NFL quarterback because if you can't beat out Dylan Gabriel, Dylan Gabriel is little, is left-handed, and threw the funniest safety I've ever seen, I think. Do
you want to see it?
Oh, yeah, let's go, yeah.
Yeah, do you want to see it? Do you want to just pull down the fourfold for us, Byron?
Oh, yeah. I think you've done it, so.
Oh, Joe's done it, thank you. Sorry, I'll just get it up on the screen. The sound should be through. So let's just contextualize it because not everybody watches on YouTube. But what is it? They're 2nd and 9 from their own 2-yard line. Is that about right?
Yeah, 1.5, 2 yards.
Dylan Gabriel to throw, and there's nobody home. That's going to be a safety. Well, it was Fannin. He was a. Dylan Gabriel to throw, and there's nobody home.
Again, for anyone who's not watching on YouTube and hasn't seen the play, Dylan Gabriel drops back, fakes a handoff to Dylan Sampson, and then just stands in the pocket. No immediate pressure, like nothing scary, and then just tosses it to his right, near-ish the line of scrimmage. There's nobody within 20 yards. It is horrendous. I don't know what he was thinking. I don't know what he was doing. I don't know why he didn't just bomb it downfield somewhere to somebody. You're down 30-13. But no, it was just the most pitiful white flag waving of a attempt I've seen in some time. And I think it was kind of indicative of what, the starting 21 minus Myles Garrett is at this point. You get some good plays from the rookies, Harold Fannin especially. Quinton Judkins got injured in this game as well. But Yeah, shout out New England. Cleveland, you're doing what they're doing. They're trying to get the rookies minutes to look at them, which makes sense. They're not competing this year. But New England, I think you should be feeling good about your bet on the Patriots to win the division, Paul, would be my kind of quick takeaway with the Bills losing Ed Oliver that Joe mentioned earlier.
Yeah, 7-2, we took that earlier. But yeah, Browns, that's 12 road games in a row that they've lost. I think they're averaging over 30 points conceded in them as well. So it's just as smart, just bet whoever the Browns are facing on the road, just bet them to cover. And it's pretty solid sound bet. And they did. And yeah, I don't know if it got a bit lost in YouTube talking back and forth, but Joe was mentioning Myles Garrett, 5 sacks.
Yeah.
Incredible. So I think he's doubled his tally to 10 for the year now. It's
the third time in NFL history a player has got 5 sacks and lost. The other time was by 1 point and 2 points. Again, just kind of indicative of how bad this was.
Yeah. And Patriots roll on, 6-2. Got the Falcons this week, which we've just talked about from a Falcons perspective. And yeah, Drake May, I always talk about, this might sound ludicrous. We talk about MVPs. Drake May's currently 9-2. Third favourite.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a young quarterback, New England, I guess. He's playing really, really, really good football, to be fair. Like, I think he's playing better than Jalen Hurts or Jordan Love.
I think when you consider who he's throwing the ball to as well, Matt Collins, Keishan Booty, Demario Douglas. I know Diggs come alive a bit, but, really rough year.
It's not a who's who, is it?
Yeah. It's Austin Hooper. It's Hunter Henry.
Yeah. And he's playing really, really good football in what is his first season as a starter as well.
Yeah.
But I think ultimately you can't back him at 9-2 because he was 50, 60s to 1 at the start of the season, and I just couldn't bring myself. 9-2 is way too short, in my opinion, even though I don't hate it. I can't back that.
That's fair. Moving on to your under, your next pick, you had Bucks Saints, under 47, pretty comfortable, and we saw the first extended run of Tyler Shook. Any thoughts on what you saw from Tyler Shook?
I mean, not enough to make a judgment beyond what I think already, which is he isn't an NFL quarterback. Hopefully he proves me wrong, because you don't like to write people off, 8 throws or whatever it was into their career. But yeah, he doesn't look ready, and he's already, 31, 32, so I don't expect him getting ready. The entire point was that he was the most pro-ready quarterback in the draft, and he clearly isn't. So Saints will take a rookie next year, and Tyler Shook will be someone that we go, oh, remember Tyler Shook? That was a weird one in 3 years' time.
Yeah. Alvin Kamara, just at the last couple of bits. Alvin Kamara, I think, became the first person to have 600 catches, and there was something else. I had the stat as well. That's really embarrassing, isn't it? Someone want to find it quickly, because I just completely forgot it after I read it earlier.
While you're looking for that, I'll just give a, Bucks, they've got on bye next week, and they're kind of team where it's at the perfect moment for the bye. Because I don't think it wasn't a good game for Baker Mayfield. They didn't do too much on offense. Shout out to Anthony Nelson, just that incredible interception and return. Yeah. I just love that when he intercepted it, and then he was even attempted to, Rattler tried to tackle him, but it was like a young boy trying to tackle like a grown man. He just shrugged him off and nah.
It reminded me of the Chandler Jones, Mac Jones. Was it Chandler Jones? Interception where he got thrown back to Mac Jones, and I think it went to Chandler. I think it was Chandler Jones, and he just get out the way. The Kamara stats seems to be 600 receptions and 600 rushes for the same team.
Yeah, I stopped myself because I was like 600 and 600 is all right, but yeah, it's the first player in NFL who should have 600 catches and 600 plus rushes for one team in their career.
And one of only 5 running backs to have 600 catches in their career.
Yeah, shout out to a great, but yeah, Phil, you know what? Saint City, me guys were there. LSU get whooped on Saturday by Texas A&M, and then went to Superdome and didn't even see them score a touchdown. So rough. They seem to have a great time though, which is the most important thing.
Well, they had to celebrate the end of Brian Kelly, right?
They did, yeah. I guess they did.
That's something.
He was unceremoniously fired, I think, this morning. But yeah.
Last night, this morning, yeah.
Yeah. Bucks 23, Saints 3. Okay, moving on. We have to talk about the Dallas Cowboys, Byron. Cowboys fell 44-22 to the Broncos. That's generous, I think. You had the Cowboys plus 3.5. This was a litmus test game for the Cowboys. Can they really compete? And they cannot.
Yeah, I thought it was 33.5. That's why I was so confident with that one. That's annoying. Yeah, defense was absolutely showing up here. We know there's issues on the secondary, but Bo Nix was very good. 19 of 29, 4 touchdowns, 250 yards, give or take. Troy Franklin, who very annoyingly I had in my fantasy game day until I moved things around the last minute and thought I'm going to get Roma Dunze in there. Roma Dunze had a great game, 100 plus yards, but 2 touchdowns and 89 yards is also very good for Troy Franklin. Yeah, I think offensively Dallas weren't at their highest, but any complaint about the offense cannot be taken seriously when this is the defense that is the second piece. It is, I don't know if it's league worst, but it's really not far off if it isn't. Ravens look better than them right now, and they haven't all season. Bengals maybe are competing for 32 and 31 between them and the Cowboys. Just a shame that it is going to derail Dallas from having a realistic playoff chance. They maybe will sneak in as the 7th seed, maybe, but that seems unlikely.
I can't see it.
They just can't get to league average or anywhere near it. They just are a sieve. Anything you want to do, you can do. J.K. Dobbins goes over 100 yards. R.J. Harvey goes 2 touchdowns. It is just do what you want to this team, and they will let you.
I think I felt a little bit. Obviously, so they were so down in the secondary with injuries. And again, this was another one where it was Friday, Saturday. All these injuries in the secondary came out, and it was like, well, you're going into it with bare bones. Bridges, the corner out of Florida, got chucked in and left on an island all day. And he had the interception to start the game. So I've never gone in a Cowboys game before. I've never gone from, oh my God, this is such a great start to they're going to get absolutely fucking blown out so quickly before. Yeah. So they had the interception from Nixie, which was obviously just a bad lapse or what happened. It was just a bad throw. Bridges obviously makes the interception. They drive down to the 1 and don't punch it in. That was the moment where I go, they've fucked this.
Yeah.
And if they score, it wouldn't matter. This would have still happened anyway. But you just go from, oh my God, from there to there in the space of a couple of minutes. And you're like, well, you've not taken advantage of it. You need to be perfect. And I go on, sorry.
Greg Olsen had a really interesting piece this week. I don't know if you read it. Of basically, if you get that close, just forget the field goal. Because with this new kickoff rule, you're in field goal distance in 2 plays. Like, we're going to see this year. I haven't looked it up truthfully, so I can't speak certainly on it. I would wager that yardage is going to be down and scoring is going to be up this year. Because you start in near midfield, everything. And that's what the NFL wanted, which is, fine. I like this new kickoff. It's not a criticism, but you have to be more aggressive on offense because every drive starts at midfield, give or take. Yeah. So the idea of, I think it ended up being on the 5-yard line, trying to get it in from.
Because they had a penalty that moved them back to the 1,
Yeah, maybe 6-yard line then. But just go for it. And if worse comes to worse, you don't get 3 points, but you've got the Broncos on their own goal line.
Exactly, yeah. They did the difference. You'd rather have the 35 yards almost than the 3 points, wouldn't you? Yeah, which is great. And great. Obviously, Greg Olsen, great analyst, great commentator, and ultimately he's right. And on that note, I suppose I was going to bring me to my next point. He's been great in terms of how he's approached things in the majority. In fact, 99% of what Brian Schottenheimer has been doing this year has been great. Yeah. He had a bad day Sunday. He had a bad day. That was an example of it. He punted when there were 2 scores down in the second half. It's like, well, your defense can't get a stop. So what are you doing? Punting in midfield, at midfield. And his play calling inside the 10-yard line, and I thought first and second down play calling was pretty abysmal. Just kept putting the Cowboys in 3rd and long situations. And it was a rough one, but again, he's a rookie head coach, also handling play calling duties. So, he's going to go, he's going to got through some growing. I think he's been great overall, but I just thought he had a particularly bad day on Sunday. And also wasn't helped by the defense not really being able to get a stop apart from being gifted an interception from Bo Nix. So, rough outing, but the Broncos look good and the Broncos look legit. And
I was going to say the Broncos team's a bit like, I feel like they've been like the Falcons, but the opposite, where when they play bad, they've won games. I don't think Bo Nix has had a great year. I feel like the last 2 weeks, he didn't play well against the Giants until the last quarter. And obviously this game's just finally coming on, and they're 6-2, top of their division. And I think they've got that knack of winning now. Because I don't see them as like, I'm still like, I don't think Bo Nix, like I said, has had a great year. I think he's had an average year. But this defense keeps them in games, and even when they concede a lot of points, then that's when the offense has stepped up and they managed to, they beat the Jets, just to beat the Eagles. To come in, the Giants after coming back in the fourth quarter, they win them games to be 6-2 instead of being 4-4. And I think that's a big difference in the NFL. So shout out to Sean Payton and the Broncos.
And just a quick bad beat. I know again we'll talk about successful bets later, but a quick bad beat bet for you two, because you both had kind of Marvin Mims prop bets in this one. So you had Mims anytime touchdown scorer. That was you, Byron, and Joe. You had Mims 50+ receiving yards. He had 2 or 3 big plays that he would have had where the Cowboys just dragged him down or dragged him over. There was one that was a certain touchdown, and I think a couple of ones that he'd got 50+ yards. So I think you're real unlucky with that because the Cowboys just decided to grab hold of him every time. Yeah. Bad beat on that one.
Only thing they could cover was Marvin Mims illegally.
Illegally. You had the Giants, Eagles over 44. Which hit comfortably. So you were 3-1, so another good week for you. Not quite at the 4-4 yet, but you still, certainly been the most consistent of us by a long, long way.
I'm not a losing week yet.
Yeah, it's incredible, really. Isn't it? Yeah,
haven't hit a 4-4.
When
Javonte went for 10-14, I thought I'm on here. It's got to be a good one finally, because I kind of knew the Bucs Saints weren't scoring many points. I thought, okay, Javonte's in. Here we go. Finally going to hit one. And I could have cashed out for like $30, from a $10 stake. And I was like, come on, Dallas is going to stay in this game. The defense can't keep. Oh, it can. Yeah, it can. To quote Mick McCarthy.
Yeah, rough one. But yeah, you're 20-12 so far. So yeah, miles clear of me. And my one's like, so I had the Niners +1.5, ended up being +2.5, and yeah, bad one. I had the over in Browns Patriots over 40.5. I had the Falcons as my 7.5 point favorite, and they got beat by 24. And then I'm on the under on Monday Night Football, so I need that to get 2-2. Joe, you're on the Bears as your underdog. Obviously, they got beat by whatever it was, 14 or whatever it was. You were on the under in Titans Colts. Colts 38, Titans 14. And the Colts keep on rolling. I don't think there's any danger of them not, but they go to 7-1. So the number 1 seed currently as it stands in the AFC. They've won 5 home games in a row, 5-0 at home. Jonathan Taylor, was it another 2? Oh, it was 3 touchdowns. 2 on the ground and 1 in the air. Daniel Jones, another 3 touchdown performance. We talked about it last week. Are they the real deal? Like, I know it's hard to say, well, they just whooped the Titans, but are you buying them as serious contenders yet?
Yeah, I am. They're beating teams handily. Obviously, I still fancy the Chiefs over them, but when you look at all the rest of the AFC teams, I think the Colts are more balanced. They've got more, like, no one's stopping that offense right now. And until someone starts stopping them, then who knows? Jonathan Taylor, you mentioned, another game with 3 touchdowns. I think that's his 3rd this year. And he nearly got the record.
4th, I think. It's his 4th game.
Oh, it's 4th, yeah.
Touchdowns, yeah.
And he nearly got the record. I think it was 3 games. He would have got 3 games in a row scoring 3+ touchdowns against the same team. But his 3rd touchdown was classed as a pass because Daniel Jones just let it go a little bit, which would have been a nice little record. But yeah, the Colts keeps. You only can play who's in front of you, and the beating teams and the scoring. I'm sure Byron's probably got some stats on like the average, like he did last week. But like the average just keeps going up and up. The number of points are scoring, and they've got the Steelers, Falcons next, and they could be 9-1, and it feels like divisions would be already over. So, yeah, everything's looking good for the Colts. I wish the Titans didn't bother getting that last touchdown in the end, because that would have been a nice under. And they just got a useless touchdown to make it go over. But I don't know if you saw, there was a great gif of Daniel Jones. It was the scary movie where Dewey's just like walking out the police station. It's like Daniel Jones with the Giants, and then when he jumps in the car, it's Daniel Jones with the Colts. And I was like, oh, that is the perfect video of how the Daniel Jones experience is. But he's doing what he's doing, and our defense looked good again. So I am buying them.
Yeah, do you want to have a quick look? Jonathan, obviously in this one, we talked a lot about Jonathan Taylor, but Michael Pittman had a unbelievable touchdown catch in this one. Should we take a quick look? This is from the NFL's Twitter feed, so shout out at NFL. Yeah, just how and where he catches this ball is incredible. And this is to put the Colts 16-7 up in the second quarter.
Tyler Warren. Jones looking deep down the field, and it is caught by Pittman with a Tyler Warren.
Play it through again. It's incredible.
Jones looking deep down the field, and it is caught by Pittman.
He catches it in his armpit. It's an incredible catch from Michael Pittman. And Joe, I'm not doing that to just rub in the fact you just traded me Michael Pittman in our fantasy a couple of weeks ago, and I instantly have buyer's remorse on Kenneth Walker. But yeah, incredible touchdown catch. I know there's been a lot of Jonathan Taylor noise and stuff like that, and rightly so. But Pittman's been going along nicely as well. He had another decent game, and yeah, absolutely incredible touchdown catch. You also had the over in, so you hit the over in Bills Panthers, and you had the Packers as favourites. So you went 2-2 as well. That leaves you 17-15 so far in the year, 3 behind Byron. Our guest RJ Ochoa from Blogging the Boys. He's got the Chiefs as his favourite, so waiting on that. But yeah, the Niners as his underdog. Under in Giants, Eagles, which both missed, and over in Cowboys, Broncos. Yeah, which hit. So RJ's 1-2 so far, hoping to get to 2-2. And I guess same record as me in the minute, 13-17-1. Sadly, I stink. Cool. All right, we've not got many games to talk about from an ATS perspective. In fact, just one that we haven't touched on. It was Thursday night football. It was the Chargers against the Vikings, and the Chargers won 37-10. Put a real beating on the Vikings. I suppose news coming out of this one has just broke in the last hour or so. Carson Wentz done for the season, needs shoulder surgery, so JJ McCarthy, I guess, will be in this week. Or do we think they're going to go to Max Brosmer?
They better hope JJ McCarthy's fit and well. I mean, he was fine hurdling over Justin Jefferson on the sidelines, which isn't taken away from the soft benching speculation. But yeah, Carson Wentz getting a very soft benching because he's out for the season. Yeah, I presume it'll have to be JJ McCarthy. If he's not fit, yeah, we'll see. Let's get wild with Max Brosnan.
Yeah, with this in this one on Thursday Night Football, the Chargers just absolutely killed the Vikings, didn't they? Really, it was never didn't really feel like a contest at any point. A much needed bounce back win for the Chargers.
Yeah, Joe Alt in, and you see the impact already. What's Joe Alt's MVP odds? Because I don't know if there's anyone more important looking at how this season's going. Yeah, instant difference maker, giving Justin Herbert time to complete his throws, and we can't go this game without giving a real shout out to the MVP of this game. Orion Gadsden, the second. Mm-hmm. What a weapon he is immediately for a rookie tight end who went in the, I couldn't tell you what round, but on day 3, somewhere between 5 and 7, he is an instant difference maker. Round 5, I'm being told. Yeah, he looks so good immediately. So I can't wait to see how he develops the rest of the year. But, you know, between Vlad McConkey, Quentin Johnson, who missed this game, Keenan Allen, and Gadsden himself, I think you've got some really good complementary pieces there, and then hopefully they get Marion Hampton back soon, and Joe Alt can stay fit, and we get back to having the Charbors, getting back by Charlie.
Yes, so that's Charlie. That's 5 Thursday night winners in a row for Charlie. He is the hottest Thursday night football capper in the world. Never mind just animal, just in the world. There's nobody better on a Thursday night than Charlie. And you two went against him. What, like?
Well, it was Wentz. You know, he was a Thursday night football king, but obviously everything must end, and Charlie is now taking his place. But yeah, I was disappointed with the Vikings. I felt like it was a must-win for them as well. Yeah. Going 3-4 now, you know, the line's not looking great. They gave up plenty of sacks, just like the running game. But I think it was Xavier Scott got the most rushing yards with 16. You know, Aaron Jones got 15, and Mo John Mason got 3. That's how they got 34 yards altogether. Against the defense, which was, you know, it's a good defense, but was looking a bit shaky. And the next few games at Lions, against at home to Ravens, Bears, at Packers, at Seahawks, the next five games. So it could be, you know, a long season ahead for this Vikings team, who came up with a lot of expectations. It feels like they needed this kind of win to, unless JJ McCarthy somehow turns it around, but I don't think he will. So I think it's going to be a lost season for this Vikings team.
Yeah, I mean, might be too early, but I think they're dead. Yeah, I think it's just tough run of games. They're not going to pick up enough wins. I think they're dead.
And they're not in a division where you can be bad.
No, yeah.
If they were an AFC North team, you'd be like, well, if they get right, they could be fine. It's the NFC North. You can't be mediocre and compete.
Yeah, cool. Rest of the way then in terms of our ATS picks. We're all on the Falcons. Just Byron on the Jets. All three of us on the Patriots. Just me on the Philadelphia Eagles. All on the Bills. A better week. No, it wasn't a better week for us all being on the same side, was it? All on the Bills. Just me on the Ravens. None of us on the Texans. All on the Bucs. We're all on the Cowboys. So all of us on that. Just me and Joe on the Colts. You two guys on the Packers, and all of us are on the Chiefs. So that's another winning week for me. 7-5, pending Monday Night Football. 5-7 for you guys. I've got a 5-game lead at the minute, so it will be a 5-game lead. It's all on the same 5-game lead going into week 9. Byron, after a hot start, a rough few ATS weeks for you.
Yeah, I don't know what's happened. We'll be right this week, though. It's a weird week. Too many buys this week. We're back to international football next week, so I think that's what gets into my global spirit.
But isn't that the week after, no?
Oh, damn it! I'm fucked then.
It's the week after the Germany game, yeah. Byron needs a buy. Yeah, when's your buy, Byron? We don't get a buy. Good teams with great teams cover. We do 4.
You tried your best one last week. New laptop, can't make it. No, we'll just put it back a day.
Yeah, I did try. Right, what have we got next, Joe? I forgot the order. Best roundup, yes. So I think we gave out 16 winners last week in week 7. We have still got a game to go with Monday Night Football. Check out our bet post. Well, I'm saying this, the game's already happened. What am I talking about? By the time this comes out. But we have given out 14 winners so far in week 8. I forgot what week we're in them for a quick second of the NFL. Let's rattle through them. So we gave you I gave you Chargers -3.5 on Thursday Night Football. So did Charlie. Joe gave you Justin Herbert 40+ rushing yards at 4-1 on Thursday Night Football. Joe gave you Roma Dunze 100+ receiving yards at 19-4, just short of 5-1 for the Sky Sports early game Bears v Ravens. I gave you over 50.5 in Broncos Cowboys. I gave you Javonte Williams 2+ touchdowns at 9-2. Didn't quite maybe play through on his promise, did he? I don't know. Yeah, it's a pretty graphic one to stab that he's shared that he's going to do to the Broncos defense, but 2+ touchdowns at 9-2. Byron gave you Packers over 26.5 points at 13-10 on Sunday Night Football. Joe gave you Tucker Kraft 2+ touchdowns at 14-1 on Sunday Night Football. I gave you over 4.5 field goals at 7-4 on Sunday Night Football. Joe gave you Niners Texans under 42 at 10-11. Joe gave you Bears Ravens over 44.5. Byron gave you James Cook 2+ touchdowns at 5-1. Patriots over 29.5 points at 9-4. I gave you Patriots Browns over 40.5 and Bucks Saints under 46.5 as it was when I took it. 14 winning bets. Yes, there are plenty of ones that didn't hit. We share them. We talk about them. They're in the pod. They're on the social media channels. The way I do not hide from them. Again, we're no experts. We're just sharing what we like for the week. But that's 30 winning bets across just 2 weeks with Monday Night Football still to come.
Not bad.
And some big winners as well. And some big
winners there, yeah. Yeah, huge winners. 4-1, 5-1, 14-1. Yeah.
Great job, John. You're 14-1.
Yeah, well done. Winner of the week for sure. And then, we've still got some crackers for Monday Night Football, hopefully. So, just wanted to take the time to shout that out. On to Fantasy Game Day, the winning Fantasy Game Day lineup. So, Fantasy Game Day, if you're not playing yet, what are you doing? Come join the UK's best, fastest growing, and just far and away best platform to play on for NFL Daily Fantasy. Go download the app now from your Google Play Store, Apple App Store, wherever you get them from. Use promo code COVER when you sign up. You'll get a free play after your first entry. They'll be credited to your account immediately to use as and when you please. Got to be 18 years or over in the UK, and of course, please gamble responsibly. The winner this week was, you guys want to help me out? And what is that? The username? Okra?
Yeah.
Okra 585361. Anyway, 200.28 points, which is roughly, you just need to get in and around 200 to have a chance. Unsurprisingly, it was Jonathan Taylor as captain again. I think I just don't want to do it now because when I jump on it myself, it's going to be too late, isn't it? He's going to have the dud game.
Well, he's not going to play Titans again.
Yeah, until they play the Titans again. They've played them twice now this year. I think they have played them home and away already, I think. So, Jonathan Taylor, 74.8 points as your captain with the double points. They went for Kirk Cousins, just 7.1 points. The cheap Kirk Cousins worked. RJ Harvey, 24.1. He had the 2 touchdowns against the Cowboys. Breece Hall, who had the 3 total touchdowns, including his passing one, 32.9. Darnell Mooney, another dud there at just 2.1. Jalen Waddle, 20.9. Pittman, 23.5. And Kyle Pitts, 14.9. Goes to show you can have the duds in a couple of duds in Fantasy Game Day if you hit where you spend your money.
Yeah, and just to shout out here.
I was going to say, we recommended 3 players here as well. We had Taylor, Cousins, and Pitts were 3 of our players. So.
And I don't need to go ahead because that's exactly what I was going to say.
So not only do we give you the best bets, we give you the top tips for Fantasy Game Day. So make sure you listen to our 10 minutes tip show on a Saturday and then streams live on our X on a Sunday afternoon. 10 minutes of your time. Win yourself a few quid. Byron, you'll line up cash this week. I think I forgot to tell you. I think you were 40-something in the game this week. So I was back to back. Is it 3 in a row? I think you might have cashed, Byron.
Not a clue.
I think so. So yeah, we need to get a
You just tell me if I owe you anything at the end of the season.
Yeah, you all owe me money.
So you just let me know how much at the end of the season and just keep whatever the winnings are, obviously.
Excellent. Just shout out to Fantasy Game Day again. Make sure you are going playing. We've got one last thing to do. Thursday Night Football preview. Joe's not prepared for Thursday Night Football. You forgot we do this as part of the show. I'll tell you what, Joe, before we do that, I'll buy you a bit of time. Before we'll do some reverse order. So, make sure if you're not following and subscribing to our channels, please go do so. It's a big help. Good teams and great teams cover. The pod is available, the audio version, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Overcast, video version available on YouTube. If you can, on whatever you choose to watch on or listen to, just drop a little subscribe. That would be great. Also, the social media channels where a lot of the bets go because we post the bets for the games we don't also get to cover and talk about. That's on Instagram. It's on X. There's clips on TikTok. There's bite-sized bits of the podcast on YouTube Shorts and Instagram and all that at GTW_GTC. And while Joe's still looking for the deck. Oh, no, he's ready. Excellent. Thursday Night Football on Prime Video, kicking off week 9. We've got the Ravens. We are expecting Lamar back. 7.5-point favorites on the road at the Miami Dolphins. Over under 50. Raven about a comeback, or will Miami make waves? Both teams look to build on the back of wins in week 8 and improve performances. Who can make it back-to-back wins for the first time this season? What are your early thoughts on Thursday Night Football, guys?
Baltimore are 7.5 favourites, as you say there, but I'm taking them to cover. Dolphins can't do it twice in a week. I say go with the Ravens, never more for the Dolphins.
I'm not a big fan of the 7.5. That's fairly wide. It feels like the Ravens have not beaten a team.
Storm Ducks, all right.
Oh, of course. Yeah, okay, yeah. Make it 14. I think the Ravens will win. I hope they win anyway. It'll make the season a lot more interesting. Feels like one of these Dolphins to go away, but the Ravens to challenge. So I think the Ravens with Lamar will, I'm going to go Ravens, but I'll see what Charlie does, but I might go Dolphins. I think they might win by a touchdown. I think it's going to be like a close, like low-scoring kind of game, just what the Ravens do. It feels like on a Thursday Night Football, there's sometimes these like weird games where they should beat, the hell out of some teams, but they're just done. And I might just look at early bet. I might look at Mark Andrews, maybe 2 touchdowns for Mark Andrews. I feel like it's a tight end kind of game.
Nice. Yeah, I like the Ravens in this one. I'm probably going to get boned on this for not sticking with, obviously, I did for not sticking with it last week, and then I love them this week, and then they probably won't cover. But yeah, I really like them. I think that number might go out a little bit more by Thursday. 81% of the money, 74% of the very early bets on the Ravens -7.5. So I really like that. Hopefully Charlie picks it, then I'll love it. Cool. That's us done for Week 8 preview. Just a quick shout out of something to look out for from us over the next possible week or so. We just need to get it done. We are doing an interview with the CEO and president of the Union Jack Classic. So that is the college football game that is coming to London in September next year. That is Arizona State versus Kansas. So yeah, we've secured an interview with the CEO and president. So we're going to be finding out all about the background, how the game came to be, and yeah, just having a chat with they're about kind of what to expect from the teams coming over, how it's going to be at Wembley, all that fun stuff. So we're going to have half an hour, 45 minutes. With the CEO and president of the Union Jack Classic. Tickets available now. Go buy them. Go fill out Wembley because it'll be a great day next year. But yeah, that's us done. No need to promote. We've already done it. We'll see you for our Week 9 preview.